Summer 1940. Blitzkrieg. General Erwin Rommel's Panzer Division smashes its way across Belgium and France, using tactics of speed, surprise, and daring. But all this action is fake. When Nazi propagandists wanted to celebrate their Führer's stunning triumph, it was Rommel and his troops who reenacted the battles. Rommel himself directed the action. As ever, Rommel was fighting on two fronts: reality and myth.
Goebbels sah die Chance.
Goebbels saw the chance to present to the German people a soldier with a successful and fascinating character, and to exploit him on behalf of the Nazi regime. Rommel, who had already achieved lots of success, undoubtedly succumbed to the temptation of being used for propaganda.
Als Propagandamittel benutzt zu werden, erlegen.
By 1942, Rommel had become the desert fox, a living legend, the epitome of the Nazi warrior, invested with the attributes of the new German man.
We admired and adored him. Obviously for us, he was a war hero. That was definitely part of it. But that would not have been enough on its own. It was really his ability to inspire people.
Hitler realized that Rommel was a man gifted with plain common sense who knew how to fight a modern war. From their conversations when Rommel was commander of the Führer's headquarters, Hitler understood that he was a straightforward, down-to-earth individual.
Gemerkt, dass dieser Rommel ein vernünftiger Kerl ist.
Lieb ich meine kleine Melodie.
Today, the village of Herlingen in southern Germany is proof of Rommel's continuing appeal to his former enemies as well as to his own people. He is the only senior figure of the Third Reich with his own museum.
Here we are in what we call the Rommel Museum. If we go first to this corner, we have pictures of his parents. There's the house where he was born, and then a typical school photograph of the time. Not many people know that Rommel had a gift for all things mechanical. Here we see the glider that the young Erwin Rommel and some of his friends built. It apparently flew a short distance. When it came to a choice of career, his schoolmaster father told him he had to choose between teaching or a military career in the army. So in 1911, he joined Infantry Regiment 124 in Weingarten.
The picture painted here is of a dedicated apolitical soldier and an upright, honourable family man. But the truth, missed by the dozens of biographies and histories, is of a man who had a secret love affair that came close to ending his military career. The story begins in 1911, 3 years before the First World War, when Erwin Rommel fell in love. Lucy Mollin, from a middle-class family with Polish ancestry, was a good catch for a young officer cadet. He was soon writing to her.
Dearest Lucy, I received your nice postcard. I'm looking forward hugely to your long letter. Please make it really intimate.
At the same time, Rommel started an affair with another woman, Gertrude Stemmer, a fruit seller living in Weingarten, his garrison town. His letters to her were more direct.
Little woman, I hope you're not angry with me for not coming today. What about tomorrow evening? 6:45 behind the flat. Bye for now, Mouse. 1,000 greetings and kisses.
In December 1913, Walburga gave birth to a daughter, Gertrude. Erwin Rommel was the father. His grandson, Josef Pan, talks for the first time about how the child nearly finished Rommel's military career.
Lieutenant Rommel very definitely wanted to quit the army, to take up a different job, to get married and live in Weingarten. Then, in 1914, the danger of war was very great. At home, he was warned of the difficulties in finding a new job, and that he had to stay in his position and follow his career. For whatever reason, my grandmother never informed the municipal authorities in Weingarten who the father was, even though the whole town knew the child was Rommel's.
The outbreak of the First World War in August 1914 provided Rommel with an escape from his personal problems and the chance to win fame and glory. Displaying the initiative for which he later became famous, he pioneered ways of overcoming the tactical stalemate imposed by trench warfare. He would lead assault teams through weak spots in the front line, causing chaos deep inside enemy territory. Such courage and resourcefulness earned him Germany's highest military decoration. Despite having a daughter, Rommel took middle-class Lutzi for his wife. The fruit seller, Walburga, never recovered.
He continued to be the only man who mattered to her. My grandmother was still hoping that one day Lieutenant, later Captain Rommel, would come back to her, because his marriage to Lutzi had produced no children. It was only when my mother was 14 years old that there was news that Lutzi was pregnant. My grandmother couldn't cope with things anymore when the child was born, and she committed suicide.
Rommel took over the upbringing of his motherless daughter, Gertrude, but he never acknowledged her as his child, even to his son.
It was only after the Second World War that I found out that Gertrude was his daughter. Before that, I had thought that she was some kind of niece. Way back in those days, he couldn't very well have written, "Dear illegitimate daughter." Haven't times changed?
By the time Manfred was born, Rommel was a captain in an army crippled by defeat in the First World War.
My father was pragmatic and mathematically gifted, but with no interest in literature. Literature bored him. He had no social ambitions. He didn't accept social invitations that didn't interest him. Instead, he preferred to lead a quiet life with my mother.
For millions of Germans, Adolf Hitler's rise to power in 1933 changed everything. For Rommel, Hitler's program of national revival meant the resurrection of the army. It also meant new opportunities and promotion.
I can't imagine, from what I remember, that he would have been an enthusiastic National Socialist. But the feeling of a new dawn engendered by the Third Reich and the restoration of national pride by breaking free of the Versailles Treaty lifted everybody's spirits.
Like most Germans, Rommel accepted the Nazi regime's policies on racial purity without question. When his daughter Gertrude asked his permission to marry her Italian boyfriend, Rommel's advice was clear.
He findet es sehr gut, das ist ein sehr fleißiger Mann, und wenn
He wrote that it all looked fine. He's a hard-working man, and if she loved him, it was all right by him. But it was very important that he could prove Aryan descent. If he couldn't, she was to cut herself off from him at once. That was his answer.
Das war die Antwort.
After an official trip to Switzerland, Rommel reported,
"The Swiss are very impressed by the momentous events in Germany. Many individuals also spoke with remarkable understanding of our Jewish problem."
Manfred Rommel remembers how his father chose to look the other way when anti-Jewish violence spilled out onto the streets.
That was at the time of the Crystal Night pogrom. The synagogue in Wiener Neustadt was vandalized, and I went there on my bicycle to see what had happened.
Ich habe mich einige Tage später auf mein Fahrrad geschwungen. Gedacht, das musst du unbedingt sehen, wie das aussieht. Ja, ich habe meinem Vater das erzählt.
I told my father about it. He said, "I don't like the idea of you going there at all. Do you have to go everywhere where things are going on?" My father was definitely not pleased. If you weren't a Jew and you didn't say anything against the government, then life went on.
Rommel's first meetings with Hitler were brief. They soon got closer.
Ich erinnere mich, als ich 10 Jahre alt war.
I remember by the time I was 10 years old, my father already knew Hitler and admired him. Hitler was good at getting on with people. He admired my father because he had been a hero in the First World War.
Eine gewisse Bewunderung für meinen Vater gehabt, weil ein Kriegsheld aus dem Ersten Weltkrieg war.
In 1937, Rommel published The Infantry Attacks, based on his First World War experiences. The book appealed to Hitler. He could see that Rommel was a man after his own heart, a man of action, concerned only with results, a man who could wage the Führer's war. On the 1st of September 1939, Nazi Germany invaded Poland. Hitler could put the theory into practice. Rommel wrote his first letter from the front to his wife, Luzi.
Dearest Luzi, what do you make of the events of the 1st of September? Isn't it wonderful to have such a man as Hitler?
Rommel, now a general, was in charge of Hitler's army bodyguard. Luzi was thrilled.
Dearest Erwin, now that the Führer has left for the Polish front, may the dear Lord protect him, and you too, my beloved Erwin. Our nation cannot possibly afford to lose him. One shudders at the very thought.
Erwin and Luzi Rommel had not registered the brutal reality of Hitler's total war. Luzi's Polish relations were now in deadly danger.
Rommel had apparently received letters from Danzig appealing for help because they were having problems with the SS. But General Rommel, unfortunately, couldn't help. He didn't want to get involved in political issues. For him, only military matters were important.
In late 1939, one of Luzi's cousins, a Polish priest, was shot, along with tens of thousands of other Poles. At a victory parade in the heart of Warsaw, Hitler took the salute. Standing proudly a few feet away was General Rommel. Shortly afterwards, the Führer rewarded his loyal service.
Hitler,
with whom my father was on good terms, asked him, "What would you like to have?" My father replied, "A panzer division." And Hitler said, "All right, you'll get it."
Within months, Rommel and his panzer division were celebrating victory in France.